Hey, what's up? This is Alvin.
And this is Sheryl.
And this is our first attempt at a podcast.
So we're going to be talking today about interracial.
Interracial couples. But it's not necessarily black people dating white people. We're actually going to talk about our experience between a black man and a Mexican woman?
You don't know where I'm from. We've been together for 8 months and you don't know where I'm from.
I know where you're from. I just didn't want to be racially charged here. For our listeners, I do love my girlfriend. She is of Mexican descent.
You look so stressed. If you guys could see his face right now, it looks very stressed. But yeah, we're going to talk about, I guess, just our specific experience. Because
I love Tapatio.
That was racist. And
she loves watermelon.
I do love watermelon, but that has nothing to do with today,
It equals out. It just equals out.
Okay, so the pros and the cons.
Yes.
What would you say a pro of being in a interracial relationship would be?
Well, I didn't know it was going to be an interview, but
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I feel like our relationship has been very educating in a sense. Because, as a man in America, you learn so much about, Mexican culture. And by so much, we mean nothing. And I guess dating you, I was able to see it a lot more, like the way that you guys do your parties, the way that you guys talk about family, the way that you guys interact with each other. And it's what you put tapatio on is pretty cool.
Everything.
You put limon.
Limon.
Yes, I was gonna say limon, and I'm saying it now. The way you put limon on everything, like it's ketchup. I swear, I think I've seen you put limon in your cereal once. But
My cereal?
You don't eat cereal,
No,
but
my soup.
It's pretty. Yes, your soup.
My soup.
It is pretty crazy because the variety of food is not limited to just tacos and burritos, right? It's a lot more. You had me, what is it,
Crickets?
pozole? Yeah, you were trying to get me on the crickets, and I just wasn't with that. I'm not there yet.
Chickened out.
I did chicken out. Yeah.
All right, so I guess that one would be getting to know different types of cultures.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, because I'm Haitian, and I was born in Canada, and I lived in Florida all my life, right? So the way that my family raised me was a little very different, but also very similar to the way your mom raised you, or your parents raised you.
I would say one thing we have in common is the rice and the beans.
Yes.
That you guys integrate into most meals.
Yes.
And so that was really surprising, but yeah, it also opens up your mind to see the different cultures and how we can all relate in some way, shape, and form.
So what about you? What was something that you can take away as a positive from dating a chocolate man from Canada?
A positive? I mean, I guess a pro would be the same thing, being open to different cultures, but also you're not limiting yourself to because before I was just, I'm gonna date Hispanics because that's the thing you do. And my family, they are very, I would say, biased towards who I date because they do want me to keep it within the culture. Yes. I don't think they necessarily do it on purpose, but it's just a comfort feeling of knowing we know this person's cultures. We know how they are. We know what type of food they eat. And it just brings familiarity into the dating experience.
You're right.
So it's not I completely don't know who this person is. And it just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. But when I started dating you, my family was well, one, we don't really know where he's from. We don't know his traditions, his cultures, what music, all those little things that you don't think would really matter. Kind of it takes a role into when your daughter's dating someone.
And I do believe that our experience, our individual experience in this relationship that we've had, have been a little bit different. Due to the fact that with your folks, they were oh, they saw me and they're oh, okay, well, if it was me, I wouldn't go there, whatever. And they already had their own preconceived notions, and that's not necessarily like a bad thing per se. I would say, like, I wasn't like completely put off by it. It was more so like, now in my head I'm just like, okay, I have to show them that, yes, my skin tone is not of yours, but I am me.
And I think you also had that extra job to show them that, sad to say, but you're not like the stereotypical black guy. And not every black guy is like what we've portrayed in America,
I would say that stereotypical anything is just, it's kind of like seeing one thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, if that person is that way, then everyone who looks like him is that way as well.
Right.
Or if that girl is this way, then every girl that looks like her is gonna be this way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying you're gonna go to Beverly Hills and you see like two blonde girls walking around in Beverly Hills. The first thing you think about is, oh, they must bleed money and they must shop on mom and dad's credit card and not have a care of the world. Well, maybe one of them's a humanitarian and she's broke and she's just over here donating her last dollar. You don't know that until you actually talk to them. And I think that's what it was for me with your parents. It was just like they had a preconceived notion of what I was or who I was until they talked to me, and then they were like, oh, okay, well, no, this guy's very left field on a lot of things, Yep. And it was an experience, because a lot of people will think that the kind of struggles that you go through in a interracial relationship that you hear about is only for like, black people dating a white woman, or it's just vice versa,
Right.
know. But you gain those same things, like no matter what race you date, no matter which two races you date. It could be a Hispanic dating an Asian, or it could be a Middle Eastern who's dating a white person, or
Right.
Like.
And they also encounter like the struggles of being judged by other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can like transition to the cons, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what are some negative things that we've encountered just being in the relationship?
I would say just that preconceived notion, like you kind of have to dig yourself out of a hole that you didn't even know was there, or that you didn't even know you were in. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, I hope your mom and dad love me, and then you're like, oh well, they already think this about you, and it's like, well, we haven't even spoken a word to each other.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the same vice versa. Like my mom, when I told my mom and my dad about you, they were like,
she's crazy.
I was just like, man, I don't know if my mom's gonna like you and whatever, because my mom's very particular about the women that I date and everything. And it was just like, I didn't know what was gonna happen, and that was a preconceived notion that I had towards my relationship with you. And then the complete opposite happened, and that just took me like five stories south to like, what is going on, But it's like, it's not always, oh, okay, I know these people are like this, so they're gonna be automatically like. You have parents who are more open about it, and you have parents who aren't as open, but as they learn about you, they're like,
Cheryl's parents. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't even know, like, I would think you were gonna say like people outside of our relationship had preconceived notions.
Oh yeah.
But you mentioned that you did, which is
Yeah.
interesting, because like even you like fell into that.
Yeah, because like,
Just
you
say
just
it.
never
Just
know.
say it.
You just never know. And it's like, my mom and my dad always knew that I had a great choice in the women that I dated. But
I'm sorry.
but my mom also did say that you just
So
make
funny.
bad choices a lot. And it was like, all right, cool. And like they just never really. It's not that my mom doesn't like people or anything, but she's very picky. She's not very picky either. It's more so like she's very protective of her own. And my dad's the same way. So if my mom's protective over anything, my dad's like, you go, girl. And it's just like, with you, it was just, my mom instantly took a liking to you because of how respectful you were, So yeah, I mean, but the preconceived notions that other people had, I don't feel like I saw as much. Any reason why is because I don't come from this state, so I don't really care much about what people have to say. here because I'm just kind of like the new guy here.
Yeah.
So whatever you think about me, I don't really care. But I mean, maybe it's a little different for you, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can say like, oh my gosh, this girl, look at her. She has like bedazzles.
Sequence. Straight sequence.
Sorry guys, we're in our car recording this.
It's actually her car. I don't drive Priuses.
My car. He drives Priuses.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. Okay. Anyways, like I'll see people staring like at me because I'm Hispanic and they're Hispanic too. And they're just a little bit like, sometimes I've seen like, like a confused stare, and sometimes it's more like I'm trying to figure this out type of stare. You know, like what's going on here. And so like it makes me feel the type of way, but I'm just like, I'm proud to be who I am with. So just like it doesn't really bother me as much.
Ooh, I'm lying. I was lying because I have seen people's reactions as well. And
like black people?
No.
Or like my Hispanic people. Okay. Yeah.
And you know, some black people too. Shout out to black people. But it was just like I remember we were out somewhere and I saw like these two guys just staring. And they were speaking in Spanish. And I remember going up to him and was like, hey, are they talking crap about us or something? And you're like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool. And that's when I realized that I feel...
You could just feel them like looking at you at a certain time.
Glaring at us. Yeah. Like, they're like, what is he doing with her? What is she doing with him?
Like a negative outlook.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. You know, just like... And at the end of the day, you know, like... And... Like you can attest to that too. It's like when you like somebody or when you crush on somebody or when you love somebody, skin color doesn't even make a difference. You know, like because now you're just looking at that person as a human being, and you're not even looking at like anything like in the physical. It's just more so like, you know, like your souls are connected, or you know, like your spirit is connected, and you know, you just feel so much more attached to them because of the fact that their looks isn't what you're in love with anymore. Right. It's more so like their personality, how they laugh, or just the different things that make them weird or, you know, normal. And don't get you a normal girl, guys. But it's like I don't have one.
Yeah, you do. I'm pretty normal.
I'm not. Yeah.
I go to school, I work, and I sleep.
And you run around like a ninja. But
that's personal. That's personal.
That's weird.
Let's leave that outside of this, please.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, same here. Yeah. I don't know. That's the only con I can think of. But other than that, like you said, if you like the person, you don't really see all of that.
No.
Like the color, because honestly, like I never thought I would date a black guy. One, because of my family and how they look at the whole dating thing, but also because I was never like introduced to like having black friends and like opening up to that. And I feel like it was an opening up. Like I didn't know you. We started talking and I was just like, yeah, I don't really want anything right now. But the fact that I was open to talking to you was the first step, like the friendship. And then I got to know how you are, and I'm like, oh, this guy's like really fun. He's funny. And I'm like, okay, well, you never know where things will lead. But the fact that like I was open and I liked your personality, not your skin color. Because if I would have looked at your skin color, I don't think I would have even like given you the time of day. You know? Not
That's
that
real.
Does that make sense?
That's real.
Not because I don't like you.
Yeah.
But because I don't feel like we would have anything in common.
That's real. And that's true in both aspects, because, you know, like you kind of have to, at a certain point, you're just kind of like, okay, well, do you know the struggles that I go through? Do you know of like the blessings that I have and everything, things of that nature? Because it's different for both sides, different for both cultures most of the time. So. But
even then, I can say like I don't know what you go through being a black guy. I can even if I feel like even if I'm with you for like years, I will not like never understand.
Because at the end of the day, all you can do is either sympathize or, you know, empathize. You'll never be able to like see it, and it's the same vice versa. I'll never know what you go through, you know, as a Mexican woman. You know, it's like I'll hear some of the stuff that you go through, and I'll be like, man, That's crazy. Because I go through something similar, but I don't go through the same thing you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I can be like, yeah, man, in corporate America, it sucks because I have to work twice as hard. But you have to work 3 times as hard.
Yeah.
Because you're a minority, you're Mexican, and you're a woman. I'm only black. So, I'm a man. So, it's just like, yeah. You know, and, you know, you just go through more struggles than I do. In some respects, and in some respects I go through more struggle than you do.
Yeah.
But it's not one of those things where it's like, you know, hey, this is my scar and it's bigger than yours. It's like, well, I have this broken bone and it's more bone than you just broke. You know, it's like,
yeah.
it's not like that. But at the end of the day, it's just, I feel dating outside of your culture not only makes you more aware of everything around you,
Mm-hmm.
but it also just makes you more conscious of the things that you do or say, you know, because there's just certain things that there's certain lines that you just don't cross, you know. Mm-hmm. And once you cross them, it's just kind of like, it's either irreversible or you just have to just make something happen.
But what do you mean by lines? What lines?
Like, you know, there's certain jokes that you can't really say.
Right. I mean, that you would say if I weren't around, you know, because sometimes it just like comes out.
Well, yes and no. I believe that there are jokes that you say that, you know, you're not necessarily supposed to say it when, you know, someone that you're dating from outside that race or in that race
You should ever say.
Yeah. But I feel like if you love that person enough, you realize that those jokes shouldn't be said anymore. You know what I mean? Or shouldn't be said. Like,
but I also, because you get that personal perspective of what that
Exactly.
person goes through and what they
exactly.
feel.
So it's like, if, for instance, you say, like, you know, can we say the no?
No.
Can you say if you say like a joke like oh, why do black people
Always eat watermelon.
You know,
Is that fine, or?
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I don't,
it bugs you.
I don't
You have to be
care.
honest.
I don't care because I do love me some watermelon. I will.
But the fact that they say that only black, I think this is a topic for like.
That's another topic.
Yeah, another
that's
topic,
but that's just like the content.
Yeah.
You know, like the context and the content. You know, so that's a whole other topic, which will probably be in another podcast.
But I guess what we can take out of this, like, today, and anti. What was it? No. I said anti.
Interracial.
Interracial.
Not anti-racial. That's the KKK.
I'm sorry.
And neo-Nazis.
Interracial dating.
I love my white people.
Stop. That we have to be open.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily be like, it has to be like, hey, I don't know if I should date out of my culture. It's more like to people. Mm-hmm. Because before you date, you need to have a friendship with this person. Mm-hmm. So just be open to different races and different kinds of people.
And don't let stereotypes stop you from doing that.
Right. Or what other people say.
Yes. Because you will be surprised at the gold mine you will find in a person when you stop looking at their skin tone or their culture.
Right. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be it for today. You can also follow us. Yeah. You can follow us on our...
Should we make like a Facebook page of all of them? How do you put them? I don't know.
We'll
figure this out.
We'll figure this one out. This was like a trial run, kind of. Let us know what you think.
But you can follow Alvin at
__ it's Alvin
on Instagram.
On Instagram.
And on Facebook?
Yes. Alvin A.T. Desir.
Oh gosh, that's so difficult. I'm sorry, guys.
Just follow me on Instagram. I don't even look at my Facebook like that anymore, guys. Okay. And you can follow Sheryl at...
You don't know my SHERYLPOSADAS.
Yes, it's Sheryl with the SH, not a CH. For you, yeah.
Oh gosh, okay.
Hashtag spell right, yes.
Hashtag act right. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. And that's it for today.
You guys have a great day.
Bye.
Stay blessed.
Blessed.